Now we're going to take a look at Angels Don't Kill. This song has a drop C tuning, there's a 4-bar keyboard intro, and then the guitar comes in with this phrase. 1, 2, All right, so we're going to start off with a scratch and then a slide. Perhaps the coolest part of the whole song. So I'm just going to take the side of the pick, scratch against the bottom strings, and then slide downwards with the left hand. Then we're going to strike the bottom 2 strings open, and this will be a D5 chord. We're going to hold that for 2 measures, and then we'll strike the chord once again and hold it for a measure and a half, or 6 beats. And then we're going to play this phrase, which is the bottom string open 2 times, followed by a pinch harmonic from the 3rd fret of the bottom string. And then play those 3 notes once again. And if we put all of that together, that's going to be the intro before the main riff of the song comes in. So we're going to start that scratch on beat number 3. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. All right, so now we're into the main riff of the song. There's going to be 2 parts for the main riff. The first guitar goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this main riff, which also reoccurs later in the song as the chorus, is a 4-bar phrase that's going to be repeated 2 times. The first measure goes like this. So I'm going to start by playing the open low E string, sliding into the 5th fret of the A string, followed by 7 on the D, back to 5 on the A, open low E string 2 times, 5th fret of the A string, 8th fret of the D, back to 5 on the A. And that's the first measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the second measure, we're going to start by playing a D5 power chord, bottom 2 strings open, a total of 4 times. And then we're going to play some octaves, starting off with F sharp, 9th fret of the A string, 11th fret of the G string. I'm then going to slide back to the 6th fret on those same 2 strings. So this will be a D sharp octave shape. Now with the octaves, you have to be careful because we only want to hear the A string and the G string. So we have to figure out a way to mute the D string. And I do this just by lightly touching the D string with my first finger. So now we've done the first 2 measures. Let's put that together. We're going to start on beat number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Measure number 3 is the same as measure number 1. And measure number 4 is just slightly different. We're going to start off with that D5 chord played 4 times. Now we're going to play a B octave shape, 2nd fret A string, 4th fret G string, followed by an A flat 5 power chord, which is played by barring on the bottom 2 strings on the 6th fret. So that's an A flat 5 power chord. So here's the 4th measure. And we're going to put these 4 measures together and then play it 2 times. Okay, so here's the first guitar for this main riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there's also going to be a second guitar playing along with that first guitar that we've just learned. Here's the first measure for the second guitar. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to start off open low E string, slide into the 7th fret of the D string, followed by 7G, 7D, open low E string 2 times, 8D, 7G, 8D, and that's the first measure. So let's start on downbeat of 1 and try playing this together now, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second measure starts off by playing that D5 power chord 4 times, so bottom 2 strings open 4 times. Now we'll play a D5 power chord by playing on the 5th fret of the A string, 7th fret of the D string, and strike that once. And then move this back a whole step, or 2 frets, and play a C5 power chord, 3rd fret A along with the 5th fret of the D string. So the second measure would sound like this. The third measure sounds like the first measure. And then in the fourth measure, we're going to play the D5 power chord 4 times, so bottom 2 strings open 4 times. And then to the D5 power chord where the root is on the A string, so 5th fret A string, 7th fret D string, strike that once, followed by an A flat 5 chord, 6th fret on the bottom 2 strings. So the second guitar for this main riff is also a 4-bar phrase which is played 2 times. So why don't we try that together nice and slow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the verse. There's going to be 2 guitar parts to learn for the verse. We'll start off by learning the first 2 bars for guitar 1. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to start off with a B flat 5 chord, 1st fret A string, 3rd fret D string. Move that shape up 2 frets to play C5. Now strike the bottom low E string 2 times. To the A string now, we're going to hammer on 5, 7, 8, followed by 7 on the A string. 2 hits on the bottom low E string. 3rd fret of the low E string. Try and get a pinched harmonic here. Followed by 2 hits on the bottom low E. Now to the D string, we're going to slide from 7 back to 5. 3rd fret A string. Strike a C5 power chord, 3rd fret A along with 5 on the D. And after striking that C5 chord, slide back to B flat 5. So that was a lot of numbers, a lot of notes. Let's put that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's take a look at the second two-bar phrase. We'll pick it up from the B flat 5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we play the B flat 5 chord followed by the C5 chord. Same riff we played earlier, 2 hits on the bottom low E string. Hammer on 5, 7, 8 on the A, followed by the 7th fret of the A string. Now we're going to stay on the A string. Here's where it gets a little different. We'll play 5, 7, 8. Jump to the 5th fret of the G string. Descend on the D string now, 8, 7, 5. And that's the second of these two-bar phrases. The third two-bar phrase is the same as the first two-bar phrase, so you should recognize this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fourth two-bar phrase sounds like this. So we'll play a B flat 5 chord followed by a C5 chord. Build up on the A5 chord, so we'll have 4 eighth notes, 1 and 2 and. That A5 chord is played with the open A string along with the 2nd fret of the D string. So after playing that 4 times, we'll strike it 1 more time followed by a C5 chord. So let's go back now and put all of that together. So here's the verse for the first guitar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to learn the second guitar for the verse. Here's the first two-bar phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very similar to the first guitar, although the ending is just slightly different. So we start off B flat 5 to C5. 2 hits on the bottom low E string, followed by that hammer-on 5, 7, 8 on the A, back to 7 on the A. 2 hits on the open low E, 3rd fret low E string. Try and get that pinched harmonic. And then 2 more hits on the open low E string. And now I'll play a D5 chord, slide back to C5, and then C5, slide back to B flat 5. So that's the only difference between this two-bar phrase and guitar 1 during that two-bar phrase. So once again, here it is slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now let's take a look at the second two-bar phrase. I'll pick it up from that B flat 5 chord, and it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to play B flat 5 to C5. 2 hits on the bottom low E string. Hammer on the A string, 5, 7, 8, followed by 7 on the A string. 3 hits on the bottom low E string. 4 more notes here, 7 to 5 on the D string, 8 to 7 on the A string. Put that together, goes like this. The The third two-bar phrase is the same as the first two-bar phrase. And the fourth two-bar phrase is identical to the final two-bar phrase of the first guitar. So just to refresh your memory, here's the final two-bar phrase, picking it up from the B flat chord. All right, let's put those 8 bars together now. So here's guitar 2 during the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming out of the first verse, we're going to be into the first interlude section. There's going to be 2 guitars to learn here. Here's guitar number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can look at this as 3 separate 5-note phrases that are going to fit together. So the first 5-note phrase will start 6 to 8 on the B string, 5 to 6 on the B string, followed by 7 on the G string. So we're ending on our root note D. This is coming from the D minor scale. So far we've done this. Now we're going to repeat those 5 notes. The next phrase starts off on the 7th fret of the G string, followed by 6 to 5 on the B, 5 on the G, 7 on the D. And if we put that together and play it 2 times, that gives us the first guitar part during this interlude. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now repeat it. And again. So that was the high harmony. There's going to be a lower harmony, which sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to start off on the D string, 12 to 14, 10, 12, 8. So there's our first phrase. The next phrase goes like this. So that's 8D, 10G, 10D, 12G, followed by 10 on the A string. And the next phrase will go like this. $10A, 12D, shift positions, 12A, 14D, followed by 15, 12 on the A string. Now let's put all of that together and play it 2 times. So this will be the lower harmony. 1, 2, 3, 4. right, so now we're going to take a look at the chorus. The chorus is very, very similar to the main riff that we learned earlier in the song. The exception is going to be there's a slight rhythmic variation on measures 6 and 8. But let's play through the first half of the chorus. This is going to be identical to the main riff we learned earlier, and that goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first 4 measures. The 5th measure is identical to the first measure. Now here's where the rhythmic variation comes in. So measure number 6 will sound like this. So we're going to do this rhythm on the open low E string. We'll strike that once and twice. So that's 3 notes, and we'll play those 3 notes 2 times. Followed by our octave shapes, F sharp to D sharp. So here are measures 5 and 6 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here are the final 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. So measure 7 is the same as measure number 1. But here we're going to strike that open low E string 4 times, and again 4 times, before playing that octave shape with the B to the A flat 5 chord. So if we put all of that together, here is the chorus guitar number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's apply those same rhythmic variations to guitar number 2. So here's guitar number 2 during the chorus. Try to play along with me here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the first solo. We'll learn this in small phrases and then piece it all together at the end. So here's the first small piece of the solo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So this solo starts off by outlining a D minor arpeggio. We'll play on the 14th fret of the G, followed by 15 on the B, 13 on the high E string. 17 on the high E, 15 on the high E, bend up a whole step and release the bend. Pull off 17 to 13 on the high E, followed by 15 on the B. So far we've done this. Now 15 on the high E, bend up a half step, release the bend, pulling off to the 13th fret of the high E. Now we're going to play 15 on the B string. And here it gets a little tricky. What we're going to do is we're going to hammer on with the right hand to the 20th fret of the high E string. After we do that hammer-on, we're going to bend up 1.5 steps and then release that bend from the 17th fret of the high E string. So here's what we've done so far. Now we're going to bend up a whole step from the 18th fret of the B string, and we'll release the bend and then repeat the bend and release. And now once again bend up a whole step from the 18th fret of the B string, this time using the tremolo bar to get some vibrato. Okay, and that's our first phrase. So let's go back now and piece that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Here's the next phrase of the solo. Starting off on the high E string, we'll pull off 17, 15, 13. Now pull off 15 to 13 on the B string, followed by 14 on the G string. So far we've done this. Now back to 15 on the B. So far we've done this. Now repeat the first 6 notes once again. 17, pull off 15, pull off to 13 on the high E. 15, pull off to 13 on the B, followed by 14 on the G. So here's what we've done so far. Now we're going to shift positions, play the 10th fret of the G string 2 times, 12 on the G string, 10 on the B, 2 times on the 12th fret of the G string, followed by 10 to 9 on the G string. Now move back to the 10th fret of the G string, strike that 2 times, 12th fret of the G string, strike 12 once again, bending up a whole step and then releasing that bend. Strike 12 once again, followed by 10 to 9. So here's the phrase that we've just gone over. And here's the next phrase. This phrase starts off on the 12th fret of the D string, followed by a double stop where we're going to play on the 10th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the B string. Back to the 12th fret of the D string, play that double stop once again, 10th fret on the G string, 10th fret on the B string, followed by the 12th fret of the D string 2 times. So far we've done this. Now to the 13th fret of the B string, we'll bend up a whole step, release the bend, pulling off to the 10th fret of the B string. Followed by 12 to 10 on the G string. Now to the high E string, bend up a whole step from the 13th fret, release the bend, pull off to the 10th fret of the high E string. Now to the 17th fret of the high E string, we're going to bend up 1.5 steps, and we're going to have a slow bend here. And this part of the solo ends with a whole step bend from the 20th fret of the high E string. After we do that bend, we'll simply slide off of the string. So here's the phrase that we've just learned once again. now the solo is going to end with some fast shredding, which goes like this. So we're going to slide into the 20th fret of the high E string. Following this, we'll play 17, 15, and repeat those three notes, 20, 17, 15. 18, 17 on the B, back to 15 on the high E. 18, 17, 15 B. So far we've done this. Now we're going to repeat the first six notes, 20, 17, 15 on the high E, play those three notes 2 times, followed by 18, 17, 15 on the B string, and repeat those three notes, 18, 17, 15. So far from the beginning, we've done this. Now we're going to go back to our first phrase, 20, 17, 15 on the high E string, play those three notes 2 times. 18, 17 on the B, followed by 15 high E. 18, 17, 15 B. So that phrase. Now to the B string, 18, 17, 15, play those three notes 2 times. 17, 15 on the G. Next three notes, 17, 15, 14 on the G, 17 D, and now we're going to end 15, 14 D, 17, 15, 13 on the A string. So here's those last 5 notes. All right, so now let's try playing solo number 1 from the beginning. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now let's take a look at the second interlude section. It starts off with this phrase. Here we're in the key of D minor. We're going to play the note D, 3rd fret of the B string, 3 times. Followed by 2 times on the 6th fret of the high E string. 2 times on the 3rd fret. 2 times on the 5th fret. To the B string, 2 times on the 6th fret. High E string, 2 times on the 3rd fret. To the B string, 2 times on the 5th fret. So far, we've done this. And we're going to play that 3 times. After playing that 3 times, we're then going to play this phrase. 3 hits on the 3rd fret of the B string, 2 times on the 6th fret of the high E string, 3rd fret of the high E, 6th fret, slide to the 8th fret, pull off to the 5th fret, followed by 6B, 5G, and that outlines an F major arpeggio there. And now we're going to outline a C major arpeggio. We're going to slide into the 9th fret of the G string, followed by 8B, 8 high E, 12 high E. So that C major arpeggio would look like this. So here's the phrase that we've just learned. Now we're going to repeat the first phrase once again. But this time we're going to play the 3rd fret of the B string, which is the note D, and we're going to descend with the tremolo bar after striking that note. And if we put that all together, that'll be the first part from this second interlude section. So let's try that together now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to switch from the key of D minor to the key of G flat major, and here's the next phrase. So we're going to start off 4th fret of the B string, now to the high E string, 7, 4, 6, B string 7, high E string 4, 7, 6, 4 on the B string. So far we've done this. Now to the high E string, 7, 4, 7. And now we're going to slide up on the high E string to the 9th fret and then pull off to the 6th fret. 7 on the B string followed by 6 on the G string. So we're outlining a G flat major arpeggio right there. And now we're going to outline a D flat major arpeggio. We're going to slide into the 10th fret of the G string, followed by 9B, 9 on the high E, 13 on the high E. And that whole phrase we're going to play 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, coming out of this part of the interlude, we're going to end with 2 notes. 10th fret of the low E string, followed by the 7th fret of the low E string. So if we put all that in context, here's the second half of this interlude section. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, coming out of that interlude section, there's going to be another guitar solo, this time played along with the keyboards. There's going to be a harmony between the 2 instruments. The first phrase of this solo goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll start off 19 on the G string, 17, 18 on the B, 20 on the high E, followed by 18, 17, 18 on the B string. So far we've done this. Now we're going to go back to the 19th fret of the G string, followed by 17, 18 on the B string. Now I'm going to bend up from the 18th fret of the B string up a whole step, back down, back up, followed by 18 to 17 on the B string. Finally landing 19 on the G string. And that gives us the first phrase of this keyboard and guitar solo. Here's the next phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so here we're going to be descending a D minor scale, starting from the 22nd fret of the B string, followed by 19 on the G string. Back to the B string, slide 22 to 20, followed by 17 on the G string. To the B string, slide from 20 to 18, grab 15 on the G string. Back to the B string, slide 18 back to 17, grab 14 on the G. To the B string, 17, slide back to 15, and then grab 12 on the G string. Now slide 15 back to 13 on the B string. So far we've done this. Now back to the 15th fret, pull off to the 13th fret, hammer onto the 15th fret on the B string, followed by 13 to 15 on the high E string, and then back 15, pull off 13, hammer onto 15 on the B, followed by 12, 13, pull off to 12 on the high E string. A lot of notes. Here's that phrase in context. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, at this point, we're going to repeat the first phrase, but whereas the first phrase ended on the 19th fret of the G string, this phrase will end on the 8th fret of the high E string. So it goes like this. All right, our next phrase goes like this. Now you should recognize that. That's the same as the first phrase, but the final note was a little bit different. The final note this time around was a slide into the 8th fret on the high E string. So let's go through those notes one more time just to make sure you got that. 19th fret of the G string, 17, 18 B, 20 on the high E, 18, 17, 18 B, 19 G, 17, 18 on the B. Now bend up a whole step from the 18th fret of the B string, release the bend, bend back up, and then strike 18 to 17 on the B string. And now we're going to slide into the 8th fret of the high E string. Our next phrase will use 16th note triplets. That's where we have 6 notes for every one beat, and the phrase goes like this. High E string, 10 to 8, play those 2 notes 2 times, followed by 10 to 8 on the B string. Move up the neck, 13 to 10 on the high E string 2 times, followed by 13 to 10 on the B string. Continue upwards on the neck, 15 to 13 on the high E string 2 times, followed by 15 to 13 on the B string. This is all right out of the D minor pentatonic scale. Now we're going to play 17 to 15 on the high E string 2 times, followed by 18 to 15 on the B string. One, 2, 3, 4. Now it gets even crazier, even faster. Now we're going to have some 30-second notes. That's where you play 8 notes for every one beat. And here's the final phrase of the keyboard and guitar solo. So this starts off 18, 17, 15 on the high E string. Play those 3 notes 2 times, followed by 18, 17 on the B string. So far we've done this. Now 15 on the high E, 18, 17, 15 on the B string, play those 3 notes 2 times, followed by 17 on the G string. So far we've done this. Now I'm going to strike 17 on the G string, pull off to 15, 17 D, 15 G, 17 pull off to 15 on the D, 17 on the A string, back to 15 on the D string, those 8 notes together, and the solo ends with this phrase. So 17 pull off to 15 on the D string, 17 on the A, 15 on the G string, 17 pull off to 15 on the D, 17 pull off to 15 on the A, and then 17 on the D string. So those 32nd notes together sound like this. All right, well, that's a lot of notes. Why don't we try putting it all together? So here is the guitar and keyboard solo. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there's the keyboard and guitar solo for Angels Don't Kill, and with that, you've now learned all of the parts for that song. So have some fun with that one.